What if the most important leadership skill for the next decade isn't what we think it is? What if it's not about having all the answers, but actually having the courage to ask the right questions? Well, today, we're diving into this really powerful idea called brave curiosity, and we're going to explore how it's building a completely new architecture for leadership. So let's get right into it.
For decades, leadership has kind of looked like a pyramid, right? It's built on control, on hierarchy, but in today's world of just constant change, that whole fear-based model, it's cracking under the pressure. The future, it seems, belongs to a totally new kind of leadership. It looks less like a pyramid and a lot more like a network, one that's built on connection, transparency, and real contribution. And look, this isn't just a small tweak. It's a complete teardown and rebuild of the old leadership playbook.
Okay, how do we actually make that shift? Well, it's not about one single heroic act. It's about building an internal structure, an architecture of courage. Think about it this way. You're moving from a mindset of trying to control every single outcome to one of genuinely connecting with your team and, maybe most importantly, trusting the process.
And right at the heart of this new architecture is this idea of brave curiosity. This is all about the skill of stepping into the unknown. But here's the key. Not with a shield of certainty, but with an open mind and a real willingness to be, well, real. It's honestly the kind of leadership that our complex, uncertain world is practically screaming for.
This quote just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the power of this new way of thinking. This isn't just some abstract theory, it's a practical framework. It's a structure that's strong enough to hold really difficult truths, flexible enough to build deep, lasting trust, and dynamic enough to drive real, meaningful transformation.
And this right here is where the real work begins. It requires a pretty fundamental shift, letting go of the ego's need to always be right, and instead just embracing a genuine spirit of inquiry. So, here's the real question for you. Are you willing to be more interested in finding the truth than in winning the argument?
So, what does this architecture actually look like in practice? Well, it's built on three incredibly courageous pillars that work together in perfect alignment. First up, we've got transparency. And this is so much more than just being honest. It's really courage in motion. It's having the strength to show your work, your struggles, even your uncertainties along the way. That's how you build real trust, not through some polished image, but through undeniable integrity.
Next up, vulnerability. Now, forget everything you've ever heard about this being a weakness. It's the very lifeblood of great leadership. It's the current that allows for things like empathy, creativity, and true human connection. At the end of the day, leadership isn't about being perfect, it's about being present.
And finally, authenticity. This is the glue that holds the whole thing together. It's that moment when your inner values and your outer actions are totally in sync. It's the difference between a boss people have to listen to and a leader they genuinely want to follow. That feeling you get? That's resonance. Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do we actually build this architecture of courage? The good news is, it's not about these grand, sweeping gestures. It's about small, consistent, daily practices that literally rewire how we show up. Here are 5 simple practices you can start with. First, ask questions to truly understand, not to just push your own agenda. Second, be transparently human. Admit when you don't have the answer. It builds incredible trust. Third, stand in vulnerability by sharing a lesson from a time you failed. Fourth, listen to connect, not just to cook up your response. And 5, take some time to reflect on your actions. These small acts, when you repeat them over time, they will build that courage muscle. Hey, try this before your next meeting. Seriously, just pause for a second and ask yourself, am I showing up as defended or am I showing up as curious? This one simple question can be a total game changer. It can consciously shift you from a place of fear and protection to a place of connection and presence. And look, these practices don't just make you feel like a better leader, they actually make you a smarter one. They build 3 core intelligences. Perceptive intelligence helps you see the patterns that others miss. Relational intelligence, that's the skill of building deep, authentic trust. And reflective intelligence lets you respond to challenges with wisdom and grace, instead of just reacting.
All right, now let's zoom out for a minute. Because when a leader makes this kind of internal shift, it doesn't just change them. It creates this incredible ripple effect that can transform an entire organization's culture.
And the contrast is just stark. A fear-based culture, it's suffocated by control and secrecy, obsessed with perfection. But a courage-based culture, it breathes with trust and transparency, and it absolutely thrives on learning. The difference isn't just in how it feels, it's in the results you get.
So, what's the actual bottom line impact here? Well, trust becomes the currency of how people collaborate. Innovation flourishes because people feel free to experiment and, yes, even to fail. Engagement and resilience, they just skyrocket. And you start to build this pipeline of authentic, courageous leaders who are ready to carry the organization into the future.
This, right here, is the ultimate competitive advantage. In a world of constant, unpredictable change, the organizations that learn the fastest are the ones that are going to win. And brave curiosity? Well, that's the fuel for that collective learning engine. The only question is, are you ready to ignite it?
So if there's one key takeaway from all of this, it's this. Courage isn't some suit of armor you put on to protect yourself. It's an internal architecture that you build piece by piece within yourself. And that's what allows you to stand strong and stay open, no matter what the world decides to throw at you.
So I'll leave you with one final question to chew on. What truth are you avoiding just to stay comfortable? Your answer to that question? That's where the work begins. It's the very first blueprint for your own architecture of courage. It's not going to be easy, but it will absolutely be worth it. The future of leadership really depends on it.